And we're live again. Welcome back, everyone, to the 40 Under 40 Public Health Catalyst Program podcast. We have a new guest with us, Megan Prichard. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Carpenter, co CEO of the Boston Congress on Public Health. Welcome today, Megan.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Candace.
Oh, thank you so much. And so, as all of you know, the 40 Under 40 program is an inaugural cohort representing the next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, researchers, scientists, activists, intellectual provocateurs, authors, and directors who are inspiring and catalyzing us to a more just and equitable world. So, Megan, let's get into it. You're ex Uber, ex McKinsey, and you currently work at Cruise. Tell us a little bit about that whole journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career at McKinsey and Company in Sao Paulo, Brazil, doing a lot of stuff around digital transformation, digital strategy, and ended up working in the digital practice at McKinsey in San Francisco. Um, Obviously, as a McKinsey consultant, you do a lot of travel, a lot of international travel. And so this was about the same time that Uber was coming on the scene. And so I really got to love the Uber product. It was something that for me as a young woman traveling around the world, it was absolutely great. I could show up in any country. I remember very distinctly one time I showed up in Hong Kong unexpectedly at like 3:30 in the morning, and I didn't have any cash, and I'd like beg a taxi driver to take me to my hotel, and all my cards were frozen. And so when Uber came on the scene, it was a real game changer for me personally. So got a headhunter call and went to go work for Uber. At Uber, I ran West Coast operations for the ride hail business for many years. And then I also launched the scooters product and was working on the launch of our flying car initiative. Along the way, I also did a fair bit of stuff around autonomous vehicles. And I'm now the vice president of ride hail at Cruise, which is a company that's based out of San Francisco that has recently launched the world's first urban fully driverless ride hail service.
That's pretty awesome. So I think Cruise is like very fascinating because like as I've been reading, like they're promising like zero emissions, reducing carbon pollution and restoring like burden, the freedom of movement. Tell us a little bit more about how you think Cruise, might improve the public health domestically.
Absolutely. So I think there's several dimensions that cruise and AVs overall will help to improve public health in the United States and beyond. First and foremost, every year there's over 40,000 traffic-related deaths in the U.S. alone, and so cruise is ultimately improving the safety of our roads and of our vehicles, and so reducing those deaths is one factor that I think is super important. Secondly, over 3.6 million people every year report that lack of transportation, in particular lack of affordable transportation, is the main reason that they miss doctor's appointments, that they miss healthcare appointments. And so ultimately, right now at Cruise, we're priced similarly and on par to an Uber and Lyft. But the idea is as we scale, we're looking to decrease the price to the customer to less than a dollar per mile for door-to-door rides, in major cities all over the world. And so bringing down that price point really makes transportation a lot more affordable, a lot more equitable, and a lot more accessible. And hopefully we'll see that trickle down and impact healthcare patients as well. And lastly, actually, in San Francisco, our first product is running from 10 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning, which, as you could imagine, one of our target audiences that we're working with closely is healthcare workers. So we're actually working with several hospitals in the area to develop programs to make sure that we're giving our shift workers great rides home.
Oh, wow, that sounds fantastic. That sounds like something that I would want to take advantage of. So, can you like disclose a little bit how that works? Like, is that you have a partnership with the hospital and then a certain number of clinicians sign up to be able to go home in these driverless cars, or how does that work?
Exactly. So right now we're talking with several universities and institutions to allow them to promote our product and let people know, hey, this is here. It's a great ride. It's safe. It's reliable. After you've just worked a long day, it's quiet. It's calm. And so we're just working with them to get the word out.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I shouldn't say this, but the number of times that myself and fellow clinicians have been tired or potentially fallen asleep at the wheel is too often to count. So I think that would be a fantastic service. But I do wonder, when you say bringing down the price point, do you think this is driverless cars? is something that can truly be equitable and can be spread, throughout the U.S. for people who don't have, say who aren't healthcare workers, but actually the people who might need it.
Yes, absolutely. Ultimately, our goal at Cruise is to provide all electric, autonomous, shared transportation. So right now we have a vehicle in development that will be launching shortly called the Cruise Origin. So the Cruise Origin is a 6-seater vehicle. It has no steering wheel or pedals, and it's designed to be shared. So it's designed to be a pooled product. And so ultimately, once we start manufacturing the Origin at scale and we're able to achieve economies of scale as well from pooling, we'll be able to bring that price point down. So absolutely, that's something you'll see in the next 5 to 10 years.
That's very interesting. And so you're having this happen in San Francisco, but where else is this happening right now?
So right now we're only live in San Francisco, and be on the lookout for some exciting announcements soon about our next cities.
Aha. You're not going to tell me where you guys are going. That's totally fine. I want to switch gears a little bit. I was very excited to see you in the 2022 Fast Company Queer 50 list among some people who I am very impressed with, as well as yourself, Arlen Hamilton, who I had the enormous pleasure to meet when I was a business student at Oxford, as well as Alicia Garza and Roxanne Gay and some other people that I find phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about that list, because at BCPH, we are a strong supporter of LGBTQ. And so we're so happy to have you on our list and be a representative member of that.
Yeah, for sure. So the Q50 list is a partnership between Fast Company and Lesbians Who Tech, which is a great organization that aims to just provide visibility to and a forum for LGBTQIA plus women in tech, working in tech and beyond. And so the list looks specifically for innovators in the tech and media space. And so, it was definitely an honor to be included on the list. A lot of people I admire on that list too. So, great to see Fast Company as well, just recognizing different types of innovators in the industry.
Yeah, as I said, quite impressive and quite interesting, and a very diverse cadre of people, similar to the 40 under 40 list that we have. We strove to have diversity in all senses of the word, not just in terms of geographical location, but the types of public health that people are doing. And you yourself are very interesting in that you're very intersectional. The other types of public health people that we have on the list might be more bread and butter, but we wanted to recognize the fact that public health is happening in a number of different areas, such as transportation or even social work or pharmacy.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely great that you guys have really looked beyond just the traditional scope of what is healthcare. We need to look at holistic outcomes for patients and everything that we can do to make sure that we're improving them.
Absolutely. I wanted to dive into, at some point you worked for Ford, and I was reading that you had led an initiative in diversity, equity, and inclusion, which we actually love here at BCPH. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So that was working with our product teams to make sure that we were considering diversity, equity, and inclusion in all of our aspects of our service. So this is everything from designing a vehicle, which is wheelchair accessible and accessible to other differently abled people, to looking at where we are putting our service. So are we being inclusive in terms of the neighborhoods that we're serving? Are we making sure that people of different incomes are able to access the service? And it's also a lot about how we design our app too. So are there features where the text can be made larger, or it can be audio, et cetera. So lots of different ways that can be thought about from a product perspective.
Very cool. Is that so? That initiative at Ford, have you been able to do some similar things in other places that you work, such as Cruise?
Absolutely. Cruise is actually way ahead of the game on this one. We have a prototype vehicle now that we call the mobility variant of the Origin, which is great. We've been testing with the community and just seeing how this one specifically is designed to be wheelchair accessible. And so we've been testing with different types of wheelchairs, different members of the community, to see how people like it. It's very exciting to see that process pretty far along.
Awesome, very cool. And I know that you also teach about disruptive technologies as well. Are there any beyond those that you've already described? Are there any disruptive technologies that you feel? I'll make this question more interesting. Those that you really feel dovetail with what public health is about versus those that might actually be problematic for public health.
I think machine learning and AI are a super interesting topic as it relates to healthcare. Ultimately, here you have a situation. So our cars, for instance, really heavily depend on machine learning and AI to create our autonomous software systems. And so ultimately, I think, and how this works is, you look at the world, you tag a bunch of different items, say a stop sign, etc. And then you teach a computer how to identify something that comes in front of it as a stop sign based on all these other pictures you've shown of a stop sign. And so I think if you apply this to the healthcare world, I think it's going to be really interesting for diagnosing and treating diseases. So you show an algorithm a picture of something, and it's like, is it a cancer? Is it this type of a cancer? What's going on here? You can also use that same type of technology to really look through large data sets to understand if there's maybe trends we're missing, around other types of chronic diseases. So I think just the amount of information we have will be significantly higher going forward, and just having that wealth of knowledge is going to be important for leapfrogging forward.
Okay, so you're entirely a proponent of AI and machine learning, nothing problematic whatsoever for public health and or social justice issues going forward?
I mean, I think you absolutely need to make sure that, as you're doing those studies, that you are including data from diverse communities, that you are making sure that people have access as well. So, for instance, you want to make sure that you're getting a full cross section of the population as you're feeding in a data set. So it's not completely, missing people. I think that's an area that we need to watch out for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It reminds me of a paper that I actually published in an Oxford Business Review that looked at like the criminal justice system and some of the AI algorithms that they were using. And unfortunately, a lot of bias was baked into these algorithms. And so what was designed to be more convenient and efficient ended up just perpetuating a lot of the issues that we have in terms of typical racism, sexism, and things like that. Megan, as a 40 under 40 winner, has your life changed?
I mean, absolutely. I get to have this conversation here with you today.
Yes, I've asked several others this question as well, and so it is kind of a funny question. I think some people feel that they've changed, and other people haven't as much as well. But that's totally fine. So I will ask you this last question. As part of the inaugural cohort, what do you envision in the short term and in the long term for your cohort and future cohorts to come?
In terms of the near term for this cohort, I would love to see, more discussion happening amongst us. You did a really great job at choosing a really diverse group of people who come from all sorts of industries. And so making sure that, we're getting together to facilitate a dialogue there about future of healthcare, I think is very interesting. And going forward, I would encourage you to continue to keep that broad lens and holistic look at healthcare.
Absolutely. And we definitely look forward to having more individuals such as yourself from the transportation sector or other sectors so that we have leaders in different industries that aren't typically prototypically like public health. So for listeners, I want to thank you for joining in with our 40 under 40 winner, Megan Prichard. If you want to learn more about her, please go to bcph.org, 40 under 40. And if you want to learn more about public health and social justice issues, please go to hphr.org at our journal, formerly known as the Harvard Public Health Review. Once again, thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Candace.